Welcome back, guys, to another issue of Comic Corner. This is going to be issue 27.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, 27 already.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, we getting into them nice and, where the story's already really good.
Yeah.
But
we're already into a good writer's run.
Yeah. This is Grimworks Comics Everything show.
Mm-hmm.
We try to bring you floppies. We try to sell you back on a trade back.
Mm-hmm.
He brings you the list for tomorrow's comics, and we're going to give you a little bit of news.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to just get right straight to the news. If you guys haven't heard, it's been everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Disney bought Fox.
Mm-hmm.
So that means we get all of the Marvels back together.
Yeah, you get all the Marvels back together, and there's a lot of other stuff that is implicated into that.
Yeah, so I mean, us being comic fans, if there's anything we think that another Fantastic Four.
Yeah, Fantastic Four as a comic book was done away with Secret Wars, Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, pretty much as a ploy that the Fantastic Four movie would flop along with it, which it did.
Yep.
And this, so what I'm guessing is, since they've acquired the rights back to Fantastic Four, there most likely will be another comic coming up. So there'll probably be a Fantastic Four coming up. Probably I would assume sometime in the summer.
Yeah.
They'll probably do another event in which they'll bring them back.
Yeah,
and then they'll start a brand new number one.
And for the movie dudes, we get all the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And for the video game guys, we get all the X-Men back.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like it'll be a good time. I mean, Disney looks like it's getting some hot water though with actual government ways.
Yes.
Because the Congress they said they wanted to have a hearing with the shareholders or the major ones, right?
Yeah, it says basically this is from comicbook.com. It's the title is Congress Members Pushing for Hearing on Disney Fox Deal. Basically, there is a number of Democratic Congress that is calling for this, namely Senate Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota. And what she's saying is that this deal may
affect the consumers.
Yeah, it's they're trying to an antitrust subcommittee basically is trying to state that the transition with another industry-changing merger would have major implications on television, film, and other media. I'm concerned about the impact of this transition on American consumers.
So it sounds like it's gonna be like, oh man, Disney's gaining too much power. It might sound like it's gonna be monopolizing television and movies.
It is a monopoly, but you have to think about it in terms of like everything that Fox owns.
Oh, they own a big deal.
Yeah, Fox has its own news channel,
Yep.
which means that news channel will now probably go away, and ABC will probably no.
You think it will go away?
Because Disney is not one for redundancy. If somebody does that job already, fuck it, you're out of a job because we already have somebody that does that job. So the big thing about this that it affects is, Fox owns The Simpsons. So now effectively Disney owns The Simpsons. What happens to The Simpsons?
Crossover.
No, I don't think so.
Yo, there is no way something as big as Simpsons would get died off.
You never know.
You think so?
Disney. Apparently this deal is $60 billion.
Oh, that's way up there. It's the biggest one that's ever happened.
Yes, and it's kind of scary just for the fact that like, what do? Do they keep Fox as kind of like its own like kind of indie house? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's still the Fox label.
Yeah.
But think of it as what we're talking about this a while back when it happened. That think of it as Fox is gonna be grown up Disney.
Yeah.
Like the stuff they want to do with their characters, but they can't because the Disney label is family oriented.
Yeah.
Give it to the Fox. I mean, they still own it, same umbrella, but because of the Fox name, it takes away the whole. We have to be family friendly.
The biggest concern is creatively, because if there's a new screenwriter that wants to take this and shop their story around.
There is no shop.
There was 6. Now there's only 5 because Disney now owns Fox, and it's just what happens? There is a lot of questions. There's good news, of course, with the rights transferring back to like Marvel. We'll finally get an honest goodness.
But then you have the other end where
then you have the other end
they
where
can push your money and probably get anything they want.
Exactly, like it's just there's a lot to unpack in this, and it's actually pretty ridiculous and kind of scary once you think about it in terms of how you're going to have your media. So
it makes you think too,
because not only Disney actually owns about, I think, 60% of Hulu, which makes a majority shareholder.
I was gonna say, because Disney was gonna do its own streaming thing.
Yeah, now they just might take over Hulu, and Hulu might just be Disney. That's it.
But it's not.
But what happens to the other places? Because
it's gonna make it split.
But not only Fox. There was NBC shows. There was all these other shows.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everybody that's not Disney and their umbrella is gonna join up with the rest.
And that doesn't affect me too much because I don't watch a ton of television. But what it does affect is people that do watch these shows and they don't have, let's say a TiVo or anything to record.
Think about the comics now too, and the video games. It's a big thing. It's a big thing that only the future knows. Mm-hmm. But it is scary and it makes you think of what actually was under the Fox name.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens, and see what happens with this hearing. I mean, they're gonna have to go against the government. It's gonna be pretty funny.
It's gonna be very fun, but guess what? Disney has enough money to throw money at the bomb. They just paid $60 billion for a whole bunch of rights, including the original Star Wars. The original Star Wars, the original trilogy from the 70s, was actually a Fox title. It was produced by Fox, so
now they own everything.
Now they own all of that. Now they can even there's good things, but there's also a lot of bad things with this. So we'll see what happens in the next coming days if they actually go to a hearing or if they're going to establish anything.
But all next into the news is
this is actually kind of funny. It's the title is from CBR and it's Superboy meets Boy-Zaro in DC's Superman 42. So 42 is still a long ways away.
Well, we're in issue 30 something.
We're at 36 right now.
So mid-February.
That's 6 months, probably around.
I thought it was 2 a month when they came for that Superman.
I don't know if that's Superman or if that's Action. I had to double check. Yeah. But either way, in a few months, we'll be getting Boy-Zaro. Apparently, Patrick Gleason is taking over a lot of co-writing stuff with Peter Tomasi. And it looks like they're gonna have a Boy-Zaro. It's a alternate version of Jonathan Kent. He has a little bit of hair. You were saying that he looks like
the singer from the Gorillaz.
Yeah, Chudy.
Yeah,
is what his name is.
Yeah.
So he kind of looks like Chudy from there. But go ahead and check it out. Apparently, the first part is Boy-Zaro Re-Death, and that is the first part of the storyline.
So they read that as the reborn.
Oh, it says right here, issue 42. Will be out March 7th. Right. So yeah, it is a choice a month. Yeah. And it looks like there's a whole Bizarro family, so it looks actually pretty cool.
Well, Bizarro was always alternative Superman, so why not give him the family that he has?
Yeah, well, there was a whole universe, like a Bizarro universe at one time. Jeff Johns had written about it when he was writing Action Comics, probably in 2007, 2006, 2007, maybe 2008, somewhere around there.
I wonder what Bizarro they're gonna go with. I'm liking what they're doing right now, the whole Frankenstein style.
I think it's gonna stay that way.
That'd be nice.
I think it's gonna stay that way, and I think that kind of forces in.
Can't wait for that now.
Yeah.
And the last bit of news is
from IGN. This is Oblivion Song, and this is specifically about a collector's edition. Now this is strange for a whole lot of reasons. First of all, Oblivion Song is Robert Kirkman's next title. You know Robert Kirkman,
The Walking Dead,
the creator of Walking Dead, Invincible. What's his other big one? I keep forgetting.
It must not be big enough.
Outcast is his other one that they kind of made into a show.
Really?
It's still going on, or if they just did a pilot or something. I remember they were doing something.
I never heard Outcasts.
But yeah, apparently this is number one. It's a number one, so you're gonna have a brand new series. 2, this is actually a collector's edition. There's really not collector's editions in terms of comics. There's collector's editions in terms of other sorts of media, like video games, DVDs,
yep.
Blu-rays, all these kind of things. But in terms of comics, that doesn't really happen. And apparently this is going to ship with a statue made from McFarlane, because of course McFarlane Image, all that kind of stuff. Yep. So apparently it's going to be a $200 thing, and it's going to come with a statue. Now the whole premise behind this is basically there's a guy named Nathan, I'm trying to see if he has a last name, Nathan Cole. That sounds like that Infamous game.
Is it?
It sounds like it. And I know it's something Cole in the...
you're right.
In Infamous. But either way, basically what he's doing is he's just saving people from an alternate dimension. who knows where that kind of goes.
I hope this doesn't start a trend of you want all the best stuff for comics, you have to pay $100, $200.
I don't know.
I mean, the statue looks pretty sick. He reminds me of Dr. Doom.
Yeah, he has a good green cape.
I mean, if it's a good statue, I like them.
You know what he looks like? He looks like Chris Redfield with a Dr. Doom cape.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty much all it is. And he's standing like on some tentacle beast. So,
no. I mean, like we do like collectibles. Well, at least I do. I like having things that show people that I like comics and video games and stuff.
I'm very selective about collectors of anything.
I would kind of get it because Robert Kirkman's number ones are usually pretty decent. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future. It's weird, right?
We'll see. But that is all for the news. Again, news is kind of thin this week just because, be honest with you, it's heading towards the end of the year. Everybody's kind of going on vacation, so there's not going to be a ton of news in these next couple. We still took a little bit too long on it, but conversation starts with a little bit of anything. But yeah, we're going to start off with our floppies, and these are our honorable mentions. Just quick one and done that you should read. No real details in
No, not really. Some we read that we thought were good, but not good enough to go into great detail.
So first up, we're going to go with Punisher 219. I'm sorry. This is written by Matthew Roseberg and drawn by Guyu Villanova.
Those things are gonna be the death of you, man.
They are, man.
But this one's straight simple. He still has the War Machine armor, and he goes around trying to save some old man's farm against the resistance that he's going against.
Yeah.
Good read, straight Punisher. There's one funny bit where he's like, "This, I don't know, the armor has safety in it." He's like, "Just release the safety." Okay, it's done.
Yeah. But next up, we have She-Hulk 160. This is written by Mariko Tamaki and drawn by Janoi Lindsay. Fuck these names.
All right. And this one, She-Hulk finds out why they kidnapped her and why she thinks she's gonna die. At the end of the comic, you have a new villain. That's a really good read. Keep reading it.
Next up, we have Giants #1, and this is actually written and drawn by the Vilderama Bros. This is another cool comic. Basically, two kids, kind of a post-apocalyptic thing. The only thing that they have is pretty much a gang that they want to be a part of called the Blood Wolves. There is a thing called, I think, Abanoir is what it's called. It's something that apparently is valuable, but they don't know the reason why. They are given a chance to join the club if they so happen to get this Albanoir. And
so think about it in natural gang things. Go do this for us and you're in.
Yeah.
But they don't know how much trouble they're going to get trying to get that stuff. And then it's two brothers.
Two brothers, yeah.
And when something happens to one of them, we're not going to tell you because you have to read it. It's a good read. Good indie book, too.
Yeah.
Is it indie? Yeah, it's Dark Horse. I don't know.
I mean, Dark Horse is indie.
I guess if it's not Ming 2, it's indie.
Yeah, and it looks like the monster kind of looks like a snow variant of one of the Gaiju from Pacific Rim.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, the art's pretty good.
Yeah, the art is really good. Our last honorable mention is Rumble #1, written by John Arcudi and drawn by David Rubin.
This one's an honorable mention because if you haven't read the first run of Rumble, which we're gonna cover the trade back sooner or later, you'll be kind of lost in it.
It gives you enough explanation that you don't need to read that first one, but it's very, very, very basic. And there's a huge, huge, huge twist at the very end.
Think of it Kick-Ass style. Yeah. When I read this, and we were talking about is like has like a Kick-Ass kind of feel. You read Kick-Ass 1 and you read Kick-Ass 2. You're like, okay, I see what they're gonna do with this.
Yeah, and the art style is really messy, but it's a good messy.
Oh yeah, the whole I have the first trade back. Yeah. It's messy art, but story's good.
And story's really good.
It reminds me of like the Swamp Thing art.
But now that we're done with our honorable mentions, we're going to go ahead and go to our reviews. This is Judas #1. This is written by Jeff Loveless and drawn by Jacob Rebelka.
Jeff Loveless, that name sounds familiar.
I don't know. I will look that up. Let's tell people.
Anyway, this is going to be a religious book. So if you're offended by religion, because I took a business class, and they always say there's two things you'll never bring upon a conversation. Politics and religion, unless you want to get it heated. Because they're opinionated and there's no right and wrong when it comes to these things.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm spiritual religious is weird, and I know you were religious, but you're more open minded.
Yeah, I'm more. If anything, I'm more agnostic.
And when I was reading this, it asked some questions that I didn't want to be asked, and rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not offended by it, but it was really interesting. If you guys don't know who Judas is, he's the guy who sold out Jesus for how many pieces of silver?
30 pieces, I believe.
Yeah. And it's weird because this comic quotes the Bible.
Yes.
And I've seen a lot of things being done with Judas.
Yeah.
I've seen him be Dracula, and I think it was a movie.
Yeah.
I've seen him become like a demon hell thing.
Yeah.
What it looks like it is like he's going through his travels of the afterlife after he hanged himself. It's like, okay, he looks like he's having conversation with Jesus or God. I couldn't tell who it was because I know it's talking to two people or like that.
Yeah, well, what he's doing is he's talking as if he's talking to Jesus. He's like, well, if you knew what I was going to do, then why did you let me do it? Kind of things like that. If you knew why I was made for this, why would you do that? So
which was the questions I was talking about. Because it's like you have all this power, yet all this happens. It's like, why would you let it happen? And I was like,
it questions like the predetermined life or the free will that apparently God has given us and all this kind of stuff.
And then I made a mistake putting my religious views into this book, thinking he was in limbo because people in Catholic religion, at least the way I was taught, is that if you commit suicide, you go not into heaven or hell. You just go into the middle.
I thought you went to hell. Like there was no it was damnation. Limbo is for the unbaptized. And
that's right. It wasn't for suicide. It was for the people that don't go through the process of the church.
Yeah, or have done what are they called? Menial sins is what they're called, or venial. I don't know if it's menial or venial. I haven't been to church in a while.
Maybe it was. I'm confusing because the way they made hell.
Yeah.
They made it a dark. So it's like the game Limbo.
Yeah.
Because when I'm used to hell being crimson fire and red and the demons and stuff.
I think that's what everybody thinks, but I mean this is his interpretation.
Even the people the demons and the people that are with him in hell look like lost souls instead of them being in hell.
I mean there is a interpretation of hell as being without God. Yeah, that's all it is.
I don't think this is based on Catholic religion.
It's not. I think it's just based on religion. Just like the Christian belief of Jesus and Judas as well. So it's very interesting to get a point of view from a human, just a lowly human, looking at Jesus and looking at the divine kind of thing.
Which is funny because you never think of making a story about Judas.
Yeah, I mean, religion is kind of one of those things. It's one thing to like take take parts of a religion and kind of distort it into your own thing of a screenplay, but to just be outright religious or like getting quotes from the Bible, things like that, is very weird. So if you are easily offended by this kind of content, don't worry about it. You can just go ahead and pass. But if you are interested and have a few questions about how maybe someone like one of us would look at Jesus and the kind of questions that you would have. So it's interesting.
I mean, it can't be one of us because Judas wasn't in Jesus' tight circle. Judas,
the apostles? Jesus was an apostle, but apostles are humans.
Oh, yeah, they were just. Oh, yeah, okay, that's the connection. Okay.
The whole thing is that like all the apostles had lived such a terrible life beforehand. And then Jesus came into their life and converted them. Yep. Like there's these whole Damascus conversions.
And it's weird because the way you read the comic, it's not wordy at all. No. It's more art filled. And the way it reads, man, it sinks you in to the story. And if you, like I said, if you do have those religious ties, it brings a lot of stuff with it.
It can bring some baggage if you're...
Yeah, because like he's remembering his life, of course, before Jesus saves him. And he's remembering him setting them out and why he does it. Which is funny because I don't think they should really explain, like,
the thing
why and stuff like that.
I don't know. And again, I haven't been to church in a while. I don't read the Bible. But I don't think there had ever been, like, the story of Judas before. Like I had always heard of Judas just being kind of a beggar kind of things.
Yeah, like when he came into his life.
Exactly, but you don't see like his young childhood. I mean, you don't get young childhood for any of the apostles.
You don't understand why he was a beggar.
Yeah,
and all this happened.
So he's kind of, you can tell that the writer is putting a little bit. It's still a story. It's still
he's putting his own
there, but. It's interesting.
It gives you a before and after of what is written in the Bible as religion. It gives you his thoughts of what happens when that silver became too heavy in weight and why he committed suicide and why he knows he is in the place he's in, but he doesn't understand why he's still being bothered by it.
Well, I mean,
like the voice in his head and stuff like
that. The whole thing with Judas is that his whole thing is, God, you made me to do this purpose. Why did you make me to do this purpose? Why was I the one that was picked out to condemn your son? And
then if you pick me out, why am I condemned?
Why am I condemned?
If I did your bidding, why am I here?
Exactly.
And that's the reason. That's he's talking to God, asking that. And then he goes to asking to Jesus, like, but if you have all this power and you're all this mighty, you saw this coming. Why'd you let it happen?
Well, that's the whole thing. Is like, it's the same thing with that when Jesus dies. And sorry, we're going into a little.
Oh no! See, this is why it's such a good because we're I mean, like the honorable mentions, we could always dissect a little bit more, right? But we pick these comics to go a little bit in depth more because it does this. It brings a conversation in between us. And this one's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird because it's good, but it's bad. I don't know, the art's really good. And it reads really weird. And then the last panel, I want to know who that is.
Oh, you know who that is.
It can't be him.
Exactly. It's exactly who you think it is. Yes.
What company does this?
That's Boom. It's Boom, and apparently
Boom?
Jeff Loveness is actually a writer and actor known for Jimmy Kimmel Live in 2003. Oh, but he also wrote The Tudors in 2009. The
show?
The show from HBO, Showtime.
Man.
Which I think he might be doing Vikings on the History Channel.
Oh, that's a really good show too. That's a very, very religious thing too, if you don't say, because they question. I don't know. Back to the comic.
Yeah, back to the comic.
It's a 4-issue series, and I wonder what it's gonna go with it. I don't know what follows that. How is it gonna be a part 2 to it? Are they gonna do other apostles? What is this world they're creating? Because the art, like I said, the art is amazing. The demon angels and whatever is really fantastic. Asks a lot of questions. Like I said, if you're really religious and you're offended by even the smallest notion that what you believe can't be real or different. Yeah,
where your beliefs are called into question.
Yeah, you gotta walk on eggshells on this.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a very interesting book.
It's good.
So go ahead and read it if you are just religious and you still are interested. Just know that there is some sensitive material, of course. So
which is weird to let it out in December.
I mean, it's sort of the perfect time, really.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. It's good. I liked it. I'm picking up issue 2 just to see where they're going with it.
Yeah.
But it didn't make me. It brings a lot with you mentally.
Not for me. I just kind of read it and was okay. This is where it's going.
Yeah, but you read this, you know that I would like it, like right off the bat.
Oh yeah, for sure, because I know his spiritual side, and I know that this would call into question, and that it wouldn't be offensive. It would just call into question.
Oh no, I mean I don't get offended by religion. Like there's no right, no wrong. But I like to see how people interpret the thing. That's the reason I like reading Constantine and Lucifer and all that, because all that gets tied into some kind of religion.
Yeah,
and it's interesting. But I never thought they would make a Judas story. That's like the big thing. It's Judas. It's him. It's usually black and white when you tie into religion. It's either you're on the God side or you're on the devil side, and then it gets blended, right?
Yeah.
This is asking. Why? Why did you put me in the world to do this? Yet punish me for doing what you asked me to do.
It's just very human, is what it is.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It's
crazy.
I mean,
it's
Judas is a human, and that's his question: is why am I here, and what is the point of all this? So it's an interesting book. Just go ahead and read it. But
it was really interesting. It was good, guys.
Next up, we have The Flash number 36. This was written by Joshua Williamson and drawn by Howard Porter. Okay, this one's gonna take a little bit of a explanation, just because
this one has a lot of backstory and it has a lot of characters.
it does have a lot of characters. It involves the Rogues. The Flash's villains, so Captain Cold, Golden Glider, Mirror Master, all this type of thing.
Even the Trickster.
Yeah, even the Trickster. So what we find out is a person that joined the Rogues during the New 52 has been killed. Just as a kind of spoilers thing, in the last issue you thought that Barry Allen's partner in Iron Heights is dead. Turns out it's this guy. His name escapes me at the moment. Turbine is his name. He was a World War II pilot that got sucked into the Speed Force and spent years there. Once he got out, his mind was warped. Of course, his family is gone. So he goes ahead and goes crazy. He becomes a villain. He eventually joined up with the Rogues in the New 52. And in the Rebirth, he was in the Iron Heights prison. He is now dead. Trickster has taken the blame for this, even though there's kind of a person that didn't do it.
But it's like not old Trickster, right? It's like a young Trickster? It's like the new Trickster?
It's the Trickster that has been around for a while, because the original Trickster, I believe, died in like 2007. I
thought they brought him back.
They didn't
I'm
bring
confusing things again with the animes.
Yeah, it's like the Mirror Master. Like the Mirror Master that we know is a Scotsman. He wasn't a Scotsman before. He was just like some
pass
English
the mantle to different people.
Yeah,
or different people pick up the mantle.
Exactly. So like everybody's different, but basically there's the Trickster, who his real name doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. It's the mess that matters when it comes to the Rogues.
It's the mess, of course. So it turns out there's a lot of stuff that happens in here, including a little Iron Heights getaway for some of the villains that the Warden doesn't know about. It's very interesting if you know Godspeed. He was the villain that happened in the first issue of Flash Rebirth number 1. Go ahead and get that trade back because it's a good one. But
that's good.
Godspeed plays a big part in here, and it's a real big lead into what the hell's going to happen with the Flash with the Rogues. So it's very interesting.
It questions your Flash knowledge.
Yeah.
This is what this comic did.
Yeah.
Because I like the Flash. Mm-hmm. I'm not the biggest Flash fan, but he's top of most of DC's heroes for me. Yet, I know some of these names.
Yeah.
I had to stop and research a little bit, or ask him. He's a big Flash dude.
Yeah.
So I asked him, hey man, who is this and why is he seem to be important in this comic? Mm-hmm. And of course he did what he just did right now. He give you a little explanation. Mm-hmm. I mean, give me the big names for the Rogues. I kind of know, yeah. Right? This one kind of questions, like we're talking about CD team of Rogues.
You have to have read Flash for a while to get some of these Rogues, but
it's good in its own way.
Yeah, that's what I like about Flash. Is Flash has always been a comic that is very, very different from all the others. Flash has always been a little more of a thinker comic. You think that, Batman, he's the detective, he's always thinking about things, but he's very narrow-minded in the way that he thinks. Like, the opening page to this is just telling you...
Like, the first one was like, I wanted to be detective.
Yeah, exactly. He's basically a time cop, if you think about it. I'm not talking about that shitty fucking John Clark.
The Van Damme movie?
That was a terrible movie. I watched it recently. I was like, why did I like this?
I think they made a shot of it.
It must have had titties when I was a kid, and that's why I liked it, because it's terrible.
I honestly think they made a show of it.
It's awful. This is why I don't watch TV, people. But I do read comics. Yeah, Flash has always been its own thing. Go ahead and start reading Flash, because I think you'll like it.
Yeah, if you guys haven't, the perfect start of this is his adventures into Iron Heights, when he gets transferred from Central City?
Right after Bloodworks.
Wait, he's not Central City, is he?
He's Central City. Yeah.
Okay. Whew. I thought he was Green Lantern. I am really bad with names.
You were thinking about Keystone City. That's Earth 2. That's fucking Jay Garrett. Don't fucking question me.
Anyways, yeah, it's a good point to start. It's only like 2 issues into the arc of Iron Heights.
Yes, sir.
And you're getting so much Flash history. So much. But, yeah, pick it up.
Yep.
You like it. Flash everything.
That's pretty much it for our regular reviews. That we're going to get into our picks of the week. First up is mine. It's going to be Mr. Miracle number 5, and it is written by Tom King and drawn by Mitch Geralds.
Before you dive in,
Go ahead.
this comic does not disappoint.
No.
This comic would have been my pick of the week, and those are getting very, very scary when we're starting to see things as weird.
He's coming from my point of view.
But there was something else that'd be like, nope, that's my pick of comic.
Yeah.
But oh my god, real quick, this comic right here, this issue gave me life goals. Alright? Because
Relationship goals.
relationship goals, life goals, everything. Because, hold on, I'm going to take a minute.
Alright.
Hold on, let me just get this up.
Get it out, baby.
When you grow up in comics and nerd stuff, even as a grown up, you start going, oh man, I wish I had Wonder Woman as a girl.
Yeah.
Or I want to meet my Felicia Kyle. I want to meet my Mary Jane. Everybody has that thing in their head. They're like, damn, that's my kind of girl. And it's never in my dreams would I thought Big Barda would be someone I'd be like, man, I wish I had that in my life. Or I kind of want to post it for my wall. This comic alone made me a Big Barda fan forever. Cause damn, she a bad.
She is?
She a bad girl. Whew. I was like, alright, much respect for Mr. Miracle too. I always like aloof and shit because you guys don't know, Orion sends them to death.
Yeah.
And this is just like their last day together. And oh my god, it gives you a fucking roller coaster drive. And it makes you fall in love with Big Barda. She's right here right now.
Yeah.
Just for right now. I'm gonna look for a poster of her. I'll put her back here.
Honestly, this is my pick of the week because it's another romance story. Like, it's kind of like, what would you do with your last day? And it's a very, very realistic last day.
Right? Yeah,
it's very realistic just because Mr. Miracle is trying to do all these things for Big Barda. Like, he's like, I'm sorry. Like, this is just what's going to happen. And he says, like, all you got to do is, like, in the beginning of the book, all he says is, you just have to tell me to stay and we'll fight. Like, we'll do this.
We'll go to war with Orion.
Yeah, and Big Barda is like the voice of reason. She's always the voice of reason. Yep. Just like women usually are. They're sort of
strong women.
Yes, they're
that is a big difference between a strong woman and whatever woman.
She's very, not that she's emotionless, it's just that she can keep those emotions at bay.
And think with a clear head. So the whole thing is, she's saying, like, we can't outrun this. We can't have Orion and the New Gods after us. She's like, and he's like, all right, fine. So let's enjoy this day. And it's a very realistic day because, honestly, you'd want to have sex on your last day on Earth. Oh yeah, there's some crazy love scenes in here.
So and it's not graphic. It's just what's going on.
You know that they get down to some freaky shit too. I was like,
so
it cuts you off guard because you're reading the thing and this comic, the art's kind of messy except for the fucking love scenes. I was like, oh, now you're gonna draw clear pictures? Really?
It's very PG-13 love scenes.
Oh, it is, but. If you read it enough stuff, you're like, really, he likes being tied down, and stuff like that. I was like,
he's an escape artist, dude. That makes total sense.
Like where they placed the helmet, I was like, that is alright.
That's exactly what it would be with it, and it's just very realistic. It's just like, what would you do on your last day, especially with your wife? What would you do? Would you take her to the first time you met? Would you go ahead and have your favorite meal together? Would you go and try to winner things? That
was good. He's like, hey, you owe me something, pay up before you go away.
Exactly.
I was like,
so that's the whole thing, is it's just a romance story and just what would you do with your last day. And the very end is...
Ooh, that ending.
That ending is very, very cool. It's it's not totally unexpected, to say the least, but it is something that is very fulfilling for those two characters, because you see all this time and they're just like, you can't delay the inevitable, and it's just like they have a ending that's just, why not fight? Why not fight for love? Your love, you know what I mean? There's something more to that. So
you don't see the ending coming. It's weird, all right? Because the way the panels were being drawn and stuff, you knew something was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But you didn't see how graphic that something was gonna happen.
I mean, you always have to with the first 4 issues. You have to expect graphic.
And then you know what happens though? It makes you excited to read what the hell's gonna go on.
Yeah, it's heading towards its the mid arc, so you kind of want to see where it's going. It's a 12-issue series, so next month is the 6th issue, and that's where things start. Usually, when you're reading comics and you're reading a maxi series,
climax of the story.
It's a recap and something very big to move the rest of the series along.
It was pretty cool because they put that one panel.
Yes.
And it was that blacked out dark side that's been through the whole comic. And I was like, what is that? Then it has annoying though.
Oh, there's
it has annoying God. What is he? Doing the suit.
Yeah, he's pretty much like a intergalactic show host.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like him. He kind of like, hope something bad happens to you and stuff like that. But oh man, it's a good comic.
It is my pick of the week for a reason.
It's gonna make you a Big Barda fan. You want posters and drawings of her like I do now.
I was already a Big Barda fan, and this just kind of sealed the deal.
You're gonna be looking Big Barda in the world for you. He's like, yo, that girl reminds me of Big Barda. Go holla.
Yeah, they'll do it.
And it's like they do, but there's like Wonder Woman's over there. Nah, Big Barda my thing now.
Go find your Big Barda people.
It's good though. Even the cover's really good. The whole heart thing.
I always like the secondary covers that they have for this one. Yep. But we're going to go on to Tony's pick of the week.
Yeah.
And this is a good one. I'm not going to shit all over it. It's Amazing Spider-Man 792, written by Dan Slott and drawn by Ryan Stegman.
So this is a continuum of Venom Inc.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give it short. I know it has a bigger name.
Yeah.
But it's Venom Inc. If you guys don't know, on the Alpha.
Yes.
Was it Alpha? You find out that Flash is back. Flash Thompson. And at the end of the last comic, you find out that he becomes anti-Venom.
Yes.
Which he doesn't want it. The way they are putting these connections with the symbiote to their host is weird.
I mean, they're
like each of them treat him a different way.
Yes.
This is what I'm getting. Brock treats him as a lover. Flash treats him as a pet or something dear to him. The bad guys treat him as a weapon. And like people like Scorpion don't want him because they treat him as a poison. It's weird. And then you have Spider-Man. Spider-Man is afraid of him. I've never heard of hero wanting to kill something. Yeah. And Spider-Man in this one's like, let's kill it. And Flash is like, no, we're not gonna kill it. It's a friend of mine. We've done great things. You just don't understand them. Yeah. Meanwhile, they're having this conversation with Spider-Man. Flash, which is funny because he doesn't know Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Yeah. The little Spider-Man jabs are funny. Yeah. Because that's how you read a Spider-Man comic. Meanwhile, you have this underbelly of the loose symbiote. It's the gangsters and stuff like that.
If you thought that Flash was a weird continuity thing, this comic is super continuity. You have to know who has had a
this should have been Venomverse. This would have been.
You keep saying that, but it wasn't. You got to give up.
No, but think about it. This would have been.
You got to give up the dream, bro.
This would have been a great Venomverse. It makes you know the history of Venom and who's he's been, and the different attributes that he brings to these people, and it gives you other heroes that are connected to Venom, which is not really all about the symbiote. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because the symbiote is stuck in a jar. Yeah, he doesn't really play a big part in this. It's the people that have had him. That are going through all this stuff, and you're living through their eyes. Yeah, that should have been Venomverse, and that's what makes this such a great comic. Because if you're a Venom fan and you're a Spider-Man fan, get into this.
I mean, even if you're not a Venom, I'm not a particularly big Venom fan. I'm more of a Spider-Man fan for sure, but Venom has always been one of those characters I really don't care about. This isn't necessarily making me care about Venom, but it is a very interesting story in terms of, because you're right, it's not about necessarily the symbiote. It's the
meaning of the symbiote.
It's weird. It's the way that people treat the symbiote. It's all about that. Like Flash just wants his friend back, basically.
Yep. Think of him as a loyal dog.
Yeah, Eddie wants his lover back. He wants like his big Barda.
He wants his
big Barda back.
It seems that way, right?
Yeah,
like, he's like, damn it.
And then you see Scorpion, and he's just like Max Gargan. He's just like, that was a hellish time for me. I don't want it back.
It's like a drug.
Yeah, and then there's even small time guys that, again, you have to be a really big Spider-Man guy, and I'm a okay big Spider-Man guy, but not super huge. So there was a few people I was just like, they had the symbiote. I didn't even remember. So what's interesting, the most interesting thing about this is Flash, though. Flash is moving the story along. He has now become anti-Venom, which means that he can hurt Venom. He can basically destroy the symbiote.
But he doesn't want to. That's what.
But he doesn't want to.
Because he was looking for the Venom symbiote to become a hero again.
Exactly.
Because there's one panel he's like, I miss this.
Yep.
I miss being a hero and stuff.
Superhero, yeah.
And Spider-Man goes, that's funny, because you're a Purple Heart like soldier with all these accolades. Yeah, you don't see yourself as a hero. Which in our world he would be a hero, right? And he's like, I miss this. I was like, damn. And meanwhile, Spider-Man's like, kill it. Kill it now. Kill it while we still have a chance. You have the power to kill it. And he's like, dude, stop. We ain't gonna get rid of this.
Yeah, it's interesting just to see like what this could actually mean. Like, could this actually be the death of the symbiote? Like, and they keep it dead for a while, you know, like it's going to be. Like they're treating it like a hero where it might die.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Can they really just kill all the symbiotes now that they have a guy with... Because Eddie Brock didn't really care about symbiotes. When he was anti-Venom, he's like, oh, this is who I am. Yeah. He used it to become his own hero.
Yeah.
He didn't go after the symbiotes or anything. He's like, you come across my way, okay, I'm going to use my power. But he's chasing after the symbiotes and people that use the symbiotes. If he kills off this... Oh, man, I never thought of that.
Yeah, this is like the whole point. Like, when I started reading the comic, I was like, is this going to be the death of the symbiotes?
Is this the goodbye to them?
Yeah, and is this going to be the death, and then they're going to put Venom on the shelf for a little bit, and then they're going to bring him back?
It could be an evolution. What happens if they don't need a host no more?
Exactly.
And you never know. Thing.
I mean, I think they have done that before, to be honest with you.
He doesn't have a host?
Where he doesn't have a host?
I don't think... Not Venom.
I think
so. Like the split-off symbiotes, but I don't think Venom.
No, I think there was a time in which it was... I had to double-check when, but I that sounds very familiar. But...
That's weird. That's really good. Oh, and real quick, the end. The end's gonna get you wanted to buy the next issue.
Yeah.
It's gonna get you, and you're like, oh, shit, what is it gonna do?
Basically, the end is sort of a Venomverse of its own.
Which is weird. This should have been Venomverse. It should have been. It's good, guys. Pick it up.
You just gotta let Venomverse down. It was a bad comic. Let it go.
It was, and if you go back to our reviews, issue 1 and 2 were really good. They're like
for you.
It's gonna get
for you. Like for the record, always thought that a Venomverse
because they were doing such a good job at the beginning. Be like, okay, we're gonna have all these Venoms. Let's do something with it. And it's like, no. Right? Like, if you watch the shows before, you could see my roller coaster ride, like, what are they doing?
I told him, do not get your hopes up because it's going to be trash. I told him it was trash from the beginning. He did not believe it. He bought into the hype, and at the end of issue 2, he was already upset. So 3 and 4, he was just reading. He's just like, 5's gonna bring it up.
The ending's gonna be good.
And then 5 was the worst out of all of them. Usually, they get better as they go along. It was the worst one.
Or they usually tired.
Don't worry about Venomverse. This is the last time we're gonna talk about it. Go ahead and pick up Venom Inc.
Oh man, I hope it doesn't let me down because I'm fucking hyping for it right now.
Well, the thing is, it's written by Dan Slott. Dan Slott is a quality Spider-Man character. He knows the Spider-Man universe very well, so I think it's in good hands.
All right, but
I think you're okay.
That's gonna be it for the floppies. That's it. We're done trying to being heartbroken with these stories and stuff like that. But we're gonna try to get you into this trade bag, which was weird because my niece picked this up for me. She's like, "You like comics, right?" She's like, "I've been reading this. You should read number 1." I was like, "It's really good."
Yep.
I was like, "Little girl, what'd you know?"
Yep. Apparently, she knows the Amulet Book 1, The Stone Keeper, and this is written and I believe illustrated by Kazu Kayabushi.
It's an award-winning novel.
Yep.
Which, again, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But my niece is in a young age. This seems a little bit more grown up than where she should be reading.
Mm-hmm.
But oh man, such a good story. It does captivate you right off the beginning.
Mm-hmm. It's a very traumatic opening, like you would assume with any kind of hero, not just a superhero, but just a hero in general.
Yeah.
There's a tragedy that befalls them, and my kind of elevator pitch for this, to be honest with you, it's not exactly the same, but in terms of kind of the tone, is a kid version of Lock and Key.
Ooh, never thought of that. The puzzle maker.
The puzzle maker.
And not knowing the truth about everything.
It's a house.
Dude!
It's literally a house.
Well, it's an alternative reality.
I'm not saying it's it's just fucking Lock and Key for kids.
Dude, we should have some animations, a little light turned on my head. I was like, okay.
But it's
a young kid's Lock and Key, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's doesn't go into demons, kind of all that kind of thing, sex, all that. It's a very kid friendly.
Oh yeah.
But
it's kid friendly with dark tones.
Yes.
If you haven't talked to your kids about life and death, this might not be in their element, but if they're okay knowing that things eventually die, perfect read for them.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not wordy, it's not hard to read, but it has those things that captivate a grown-up. The story follows